Good morning from North Central Washington. It's a sunny, beautiful day, a perfect day for a garden tour, don't you think? My name is Patti Milos. I'm here with Jill Sheets from the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. Jill approached me and wanted to put together a series of little garden tours, so that's what we're doing here. The Wenatchee Valley is full of people who love to work with plants, love to work in their yards, love to play in their dirt, and we are here with two of them. This is Bob and Sherry Doolittle. Bob and Sherry are in the process of changing their yard over from grass and a traditional landscape to more use of native plants. So we can look through and see what they've got going in their yard, see their changes, hear what they've done that's a positive change, and maybe some things that gave them a little bit of a challenge. But we're moving forward to seeing more native plants, more pollinators, more native wildlife, and we're going to see it. It's right on the other side of the fence. So let's go together through the garden gate. Okay, right now we're in Bob and Sherry's front yard. This is where they started their transition to the native plants. Bob, Sherry, I understand you've been here about 2 years.
Yes.
Tell me some of the changes that have happened in those 2 years.
When we first moved here, the whole thing was lawn. The mounds were all lawn, all the way down the backside, around the backside, back up again. And then we have the big yard and the backyard too. So we spent our life mowing when we first moved here. Oh
Yes,
my gosh.
And watering.
And watering,
yes.
Watering.
So we said, well, this can't be. Let's do something. We took the natural history
Naturalist
class with Susan Ballinger at the college. We got all excited about native plants and decided to do that. We had our friend Betsy Didash, who is a landscape designer, she specializes in native plants. But we asked her to design something, as with most of the lawn gone.
Yeah.
And
We sat down and walked through. Our objective was, as people would have come, as you come down the driveway, we wanted it to look inviting. We wanted to keep some modicum of formal, as opposed to just having a bunch of.
for curb appeal.
Yeah,
Of
we
course,
wanted a
right.
reasonable curb appeal as you came through. Sherry wanted some color as you came down, so she has her wildflowers, wildflowers.
These are native trees, Douglas maple.
Douglas maple, two varieties, regular Douglas and then the vine maples, a couple of vine maples over there that we've added, and all kinds.
We have to say, we told Betsy that we didn't want her to we don't want to get rid of anything that's big and growing, because it must be successful here.
These are beautiful flower beds here, your California poppies. Have you found that they reseed easily for you?
Oh yes, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to save them. I pick them and they explode my hand.
Okay.
I'm collecting all the seeds as they come out, and I've got them all cataloged because I want to start a pollinator garden down below.
Okay.
So I'll have seeds for that.
And I should say, right now we're here, it's mid-August. This is a perfect time to be collecting seeds. A lot of time you'll have a nice bloom that's a little bit past. That means the seeds are drying. So you can mark your plant a little bit to know which is the best bloom that's going to provide the best seeds. But this is the perfect time to be doing that.
Right.
So in this bed we have, let's see, California poppies, some marigolds, we have lupin, and we have blanket flower.
We really started about a year ago as we started down below with our Aspen Grill, which we'll be getting to. Of course, that was our first move, and then we slowly, it's really been this year that we ripped out the lawn. We spent the winter trying to kill as much of the lawn as we possibly could.
Okay.
And
Put cardboard down, which blew away. So we
put
staked
more
it.
cardboard down, which blew away.
Yeah. Even with the stakes.
Common,
Yeah.
So
continual fiasco.
Uh,
But
You can put the cardboard down and a lot of mulch.
well, then I put dirt clods on it. Then the weeds grew in it. So
as I put the cardboard down, I still had the dream of taking the cardboard up and changing all the sprinklers around based on the plan.
oh yeah.
But I ran out of time.
And we wanted the plants growing. So
She wanted the
I
plants in
pushed
the ground
to
immediately.
get the plants in, and that was a mistake because the sprinkler system was set up for the ponds, and we've lost a lot of the native plants along here and here due to too much water, and the lawn is still not getting enough. So Bob has to go back. I feel so bad for him, but plants are the ones that are growing. So,
Well, we're
but
doing
he does
well.
have to fix that.
Well, and that's one of the biggest issues is watering.
It's been a learning
Learning.
situation. We've never done natives before anywhere, and so it's new. And the fact that we don't have to use much water, that's pretty cool.
Okay, we're standing in front of a flower bed on the north side of the yard, and Sherry just shared with me some interesting information about bringing in and amending their topsoil versus their native soil, and how the beds were created, and the success of the plants that are in the beds. So Sherry, could you repeat that for the people watching?
We brought in the mounds. There were no mounds in the lawn. It was a big, fat, flat, open lawn. And so we brought in the mounding. We brought in topsoil, had them dump it right there. We put it all out. We did all the work.
Good exercise.
Yes. And then we planted the plants, and we did not put mounding here. We did not put topsoil there. This is all just the regular dirt that was here. And the plants, and this whole area gets less water anyway. And it's thriving, it's doing beautifully. And the topsoil and the excessive water, not so much over here. So that was a learning experience.
Okay. And the point that Sherry's bringing up is a good one. A lot of times when you're changing a landscape over from traditional to native, you need to work very specifically with your irrigation system, because native plants need a lot less water than what your lawn does. And if you water for your lawn, you're going to drown your plants. If you water for your plants, your lawn is going to die. Possibly.
Added benefit, they don't like to be fertilized.
That's
Native
true.
plants don't like fertilization, so you don't need to fertilize them when you do the lawns. But
So tell me a little bit more about your plants.
this is blanket flowers. Okay. And this is our Douglas maple, and the vine maples as well over here. And then we wanted to hide the fencing too, so we put some red osiers back there. Fireweed, that was.
Yeah, fireweed.
And then this is the sage, purple sage, which is blooming beautifully and attracts the beautiful bees that we have discovered native bees that we didn't know existed.
Interestingly enough, bees like blue. They'll pollinate most anything. They're attracted to blue flowers. So your sage is an excellent choice for this. The dogwood, I imagine, is beautiful in the fall.
Yes.
We hope.
Okay.
Oh, sure it will
Okay.
be, because we have dogwood in the back.
Okay.
And that red osier dogwood is so easy to grow because the birds spread it everywhere.
Okay. This garden is actually a 2-season garden for you at least, because you're going to have winter interest also with the red twigs on the dogwood.
That was another thing that we were after, is year-round something.
Well, and Betsy tried to give us plants that would bloom at different times.
We started this, all of this stuff was done in the last 4 or 5 months. All of this.
And how big were the plants when you put them in?
Most of them were about yay big.
Okay.
Sticks.
So this spring, they were
This
6
all
inches tall.
happened this way.
This came from
So-
Dirty Farm.
We can't wait.
Derby Canyon.
Yeah, we can't wait for 2 years from now.
Ted was very, very helpful.
Very knowledgeable.
Yes, he was
Very knowledgeable, and has some great plans.
Sherry is referring to Derby Canyon natives. Ted Alway is the owner, and he is up in Shaston. He has a lovely website, and he's very amiable to helping with native plants, and he has an extensive inventory. He's one of several options that you have here in the valley. Feel free to go online and check out native plants.
Yep.
Here I am. I'm standing in front of Bob and Sherry's garden in process. This is their garden that they were working on since this spring. So it is in transition. A lot of times a idea in landscape design for a yard is to do a landscape for the view. So you want plants up close, but also you want to draw the eye farther away. Another thing is sometimes people like to have outdoor rooms, maybe an area to barbecue or an area to sit, an area to read, sit under the tree, whatever you prefer. I think Bob and Sherry have done this very well
we've got a view and a room over this way.
Can you talk a little bit about your patio and what your design is for farther down
Sure.
your view?
Like everything, we did this. Bob did all of this patio.
Very nice.
Yes, and it's reclaimed, recycled. Obviously being rock and stone, but it was actually on the property, hidden in a corner.
So
I
you
pulled
took
it up
this
and-
from down
I took
there,
it all
brought
from
it
down
up and
below
turned
where
it
no
into your
one
patio.
went and brought it up here so it could be seen and created this spot. You're right, it's a perfect spot. You sit here with look.
Castle
up at
Rock is right there.
Going across the hills on the other side of the river. And you've got this incredible birch figure forever. That we just absolutely love. So we have this shade of this wonderful tree, and we can sit in the distance, you see that pile of rock, what appears a pile of rocks. That's all going to be moved, rearranged, and that's going to be the material that will line the pathway as it goes down. And also, the part that you see in yellow will become a fake. Dry creek bed. Everything's supposed to be fake these days. There's a fake creek bed that's going to roam through with a little bridge that goes over it, and it'll just kind of give it way to meander down to the pollinator garden and around. And because the garden, the whole thing kind of flows around this birch in a big circle. So the stonework will be all used down through the dry creek bed and surrounding that, and then we will be putting more focal trees or planting new shrubs in small colors, things that are more, probably a little wetter because of the water. You want to enhance that, so we'll bring in some more of a wetter thing down to, as if it were leading down.
Because the water will flow down. Your water
There
flows
will be.
downhill.
There will be some drainage. There will definitely be some drainage.
I'd like to share with everyone that originally Bob had wanted to do not a virtual stream, but a real stream here and waterfall. After consideration from significant input from Sherry, he's decided to do a dry stream bed, creek bed. And I'd just like to share with everybody that even though this yard is large and it's in transition, but once everything is finished, it's going to take very little time, basically, to maintain it and keep it looking beautiful. And a dry creek bed can be just as aesthetically pleasing as a real one with a lot less work. Yes. Okay. We're on the south side of Bob and Sherry's yard now. This is the feature I think they're most proud of. They said it's their favorite part. This is the Aspen Grill. And they planted this 2 years ago?
No, last year.
Last year.
Yes.
Okay.
In the fall. Last fall we did this.
Early fall.
Yeah.
And the trees at that point were how big? 6.
No, you're right. Just about that tall.
6.
There were a couple of them. There were a couple of them.
There are a couple that have not grown. You can see them down there. But the rest.
And some have exploded. So.
Well, they're
trees.
beautiful. It's a
They
beautiful
do
area.
well.
Can you talk a little bit about the plants that you got here?
Okay, we want to finish with that. It was the hardest thing we did, planting those trees, because the ground we had let the grass die and the ground was hard. And oh my gosh, it was brutal.
Dry and hard. It's starting to get cold.
14 trees in there. And then we had to kill the grass. So it was dying, but it started coming back in the fall with the rains. Oh my gosh, now what do we do? And so we did have to resort to one of the things we don't like to do, but Ted always suggested Roundup. He said it might be the only way you can get it, because we didn't want to do the cardboard all everywhere down there. So we Roundup, killed the lawn, put kinnikinnick in, and mulch. Kinnikinnick is all through there, and we didn't. And the mulch, will help just keep it alive.
Correct.
And so they seem to be doing okay, and the trees are just exploding. They're just beautiful.
So I should add right now, probably the viewers can't see the kinnikinnick, but they're the small green patches on each side of the aspen trees.
All the way down.
A kinnikinnick is a native ground cover, so eventually it should spread, fill in there.
And the rocks came from down below.
Recycled rocks.
Repurposed everything.
Okay. Eventually, the pollinator garden will have no rocks in it. They'll all be repurposed. and then we can start our pollinator garden. But that's phase what, 4 or 5?
There are 14 of these guys, quaking aspens, and they're just a kick to watch them. You know, when it comes.
And the wind
Okay.
doesn't, the heavy winds don't bother them. They
No.
just
We're-
roll.
I see the Russian sage
Oh yeah.
over here. It's beautiful. That was here.
That's an example of one of the things that was here that thou shalt not touch.
And the
He's
bees
beautiful,
love
and
it.
we have the most wonderful Oregon grape down there too. Just to be honest,
Giant Oregon
beautiful.
grape. And our yarrow right there that's a freebie. We did not plant that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Another native. They can be very, very pretty,
Mhm.
attractive pollinators. Speaking of which, have you noticed an increase in butterflies, bees,
Everything.
birds
Yes.
since you've changed over?
All of the above, and just insects in general.
Have you noticed an increase since the plantings, or do you put
Oh, no,
down other
no.
food for them to come?
Well, we did. We there's some bird seed. We do feed some of the birds.
Okay.
see the goldfinches.
Specifically, right now the goldfinches are getting a lot.
Yes, they are.
Okay, and when the jays were here, we pick up peanuts. We
Oh,
we
the
do it
jays.
cyclically.
Stellar's jays are hysterical clowns. We had so much fun with them this winter.
But in general, there's just a lot more activity. We even had a chipmunk. What in the world is a chipmunk doing down here?
Yeah. I wanted to share with the people watching the importance of mulch. I imagine your landscape designer talked to you about this also, but the mulched areas probably also help get your trees established.
We
The
she
benefit.
didn't need to talk to us about it.
You do, okay.
We know that.
Okay. Yes.
She was happy that we were going to do that.
We were.
Now, we did have a fire assessment guy. 2 guys did say you don't want that mulch near your house.
Correct.
That you want to
Yeah.
keep that distance around the house. And they told us several things that we could help, and we've been working.
And the importance of it in the garden is it can keep plant roots cool.
Mhm.
It can regulate the temperature so you don't have the freezing and the cooking of the roots.
Holds moisture.
It holds moisture. The one thing you do not want it right up against the
Right. Betsy was
the
very
bark of the
clear
plant.
on that.
Yes.
Make sure it's all around it, and
Mhm.
nobody gets crowded.
And it gives things a place to forage and live. And but the important thing is, and it can also help amend the soil if you're using a natural. So you've seen an increase in pollinators.
Yep.
Increase in insects.
Yep. Increasing little fuzzy guys.
Deer,
Bob, Sherry, you've done a beautiful job in a short period of time. All your hard work definitely has paid off. It shows. We know the positives of the native plants. Besides the work, have you found any negatives?
Canadians?
The
Some of them grow
changing
too-
over to a
yeah,
negative.
some of them grow too fast.
Okay.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
We like that. The elderberries are.
Elderberries are.
Yeah.
Well, the
Just
thing
like-
that we did learn was the negative was don't overwater them because it's an investment. They're not cheap, and when you lose them, it's like heartbreaking.
No.
So yeah,
And
don't overwater.
in retrospect, that's the one. There are 2 things that I would have done differently.
Okay.
One of the most important was I would have established my watering pattern before I got them in the ground.
So get the watering done first.
So I would have known. I've done a better job of that.
Okay.
Okay, I was basically to get all of the overhead spray off of the plants and just concentrated on the lawn. That's what I'm in the process of doing now
Okay.
to get it ready to do. The other thing is, and Sherry said that there's no reason to amend your soil. There's no reason to go out and buy all of this nifty swell topsoils and things because they don't like it anyway.
So they do okay, but
They do okay.
I
But-
think the one amendment, and I agree with you, the one amendment I would add to that is know your soil, have an idea of what the builder did to your lot,
yes.
because you may or may
Yeah.
not have native soil
Right.
available.
Right.
There are plenty of places you can go, a couple places anyway in Wenatchee you can go for soil tests, so you know what you're dealing with before you start planting.
Right, good idea.
And I think having a knowledgeable
Mhm.
base to work from in maybe a professional person that knows the plants, either helping you select or
Right,
put them in the proper place would be important. But overall, you've done a beautiful job. So, and if our viewers are interested, maybe we can follow the path of your Aspen Grove down the road as it matures
Let's
and
wander down.
and
that.
we can see how it works. Let's
Yeah.
go down the path. Thank you for watching our original video
on the garden tour through the Museum and Cultural Center. We want to thank Bob and Sherry for sharing their yard with us. We truly appreciate them taking the time to take us on this virtual tour. If you're interested in native plants, changing over maybe your whole yard or maybe a part of your yard, we definitely encourage you to do so. The pollinators would say thanks, the birds would say thanks. And I want to reinforce that native plants are easy to grow. They provide nectar and pollen, seeds for native birds, insects, and pollinators. You can decrease your use of pesticides, you can save some water, and there's less time out in the yard.
More time out in the yard having fun.
More time out in the yard having fun.
Less
That's
time
right.
working.
Okay, let's go see this aspen grow. Okay, thank you so much.